individuals who feel like they have been bullied, or even for people that want to learn how to not bully based on perceived difference. And I really want to focus on the perceived difference because it's a ridiculous argument because we're all different anyway. So why are people being bullied? Because we are all different. You know, it's not right for me to pick on you, Steve, because you wear glasses and I don't. Because I have 2 cavities in my mouth and you probably don't. So the point is that we are all different. We all have our nuances. We all have our challenges. And so to single out any individual for any reason of perceived difference is just a fruitless argument.
I was very fortunate with growing up. I was not really picked on at all. I mean, there were some isolated incidents here and there. One of the reasons I somehow just made it through all of this is that one of my friends growing up was sort of I don't say that he's a bully, but he was a tough guy. Mm-hmm. And whenever I was playing it, I mean, he was always there, and so nobody ever messed with me. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. One of those kinds of things. So I just kind of lucked out, I think.
Right. And bullying, let's be specific here. Bullying is not just a kid issue. It's an adult issue too. Adults are bullied and picked on in the workplace and social settings. It's maybe a little bit more passive aggressive, mm-hmm. But sometimes not. And it's all based on isolating perceived difference. And if you focus on that, I think that you will see how ridiculous that kind of activity is out and about. And it'll make you think twice when you are in the workplace. If you're working next to a rock star, there's probably a little bit of a tendency to be passive aggressive with that individual. That's being a bully. Or maybe somebody's an underachiever and you single them out as an underachiever and treat them differently. That's kind of being bullied too in the workplace. So it's divisive behavior. It's not the kind of behavior that humanity should have to continue to deal with, but we do with religion, we do with even school, we do within our families. And I think if we focus on the goodness of people and just stick with that, I think that divisive behavior will tend to fall away a bit, maybe not go completely away, but fall away a bit. And I think that is really something that we need to focus on, especially when it comes to sexual identity. And the reason that is so important is because people who are picked on for sexual identity tend to have a higher rate of suicide because it's pretty much a double whammy. These people are already challenged in a variety of ways throughout society, but then to not get the support and the caring and the attention that every human being deserves because of that difference really makes a strong impact on children as well as adults. I mean, what's happening in Russia right now is repulsive to me. People being killed because they identify as gay.
Well, that happens in this country too.
Exactly.
There are isolated cases, but I mean, yeah. it happens.
But our government doesn't support it. So
that is true. That is true. Well, and bullying doesn't necessarily just isn't something just individuals suffer from too. I mean, groups of people could. And I don't know if it goes this far, but would you say that politics is something to bully somebody about? I mean, the way that Congress doesn't work and that all they do is kind of try to bully each other into thinking the way that the other side does. I mean, it's almost the same thing in a way.
Well, wouldn't it be a much nicer place to live if we looked at difference or perceived difference as a way to learn rather than to divide? And I think that each person, each idea brings with them or it a set of challenges for all of us. And if we were to take a few minutes and really try to understand versus dismiss whole cloth, I think we're better than that. And I think that we have evolved mentally and emotionally at a level where we can do that. But it's a decision. Mm-hmm. It's a decision, and it takes more time and it's more difficult. But I think that if you make that decision, everyone's better off, really.
Now, would you consider somebody who let's just talk about the
LGBTQ?
Yeah. What?
Alphabet soup.
Yeah, the gay issue, whatever. If somebody from a religious standpoint comes to you and says, I really think that you should consider not doing this, and they're not really coming on real strong, they're not being pushy, but they're just trying to persuade. Is that bullying too, or does that? I mean, because
No, I think. Well, the official definition is this: bullying is unwanted, aggressive behavior.
Okay, so it may not be wanted, but it wasn't aggressive necessarily.
Exactly.
Okay,
and it involves a real or perceived power imbalance, and the behavior is repeated or has the potential to be repeated over time. Mm-hmm. So that's really the definition of what a bully is. So it's a sense of entitlement and power. Mm-hmm. And if you look at it in that way, I think that it will prompt you to have more intellectual conversations with people, and understand it for what it is versus feeling less empowered.
Okay, so is this for someone who has been bullied or for those who bully? Or both?
It's for both.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Do you think that either one or the other will show up? I mean, do you think a bully's going to show up?
Actually, let me share a story. Last year, we had an amazing transgendered woman come and speak. Her name's Cass Marie. She has gone through a lot of challenges personally. She emceed the event, and she told her story, and she will be back this year. Amazing story. She ran across a child. A mother walked up to her and said, I really would like you to talk to my daughter. And Cass said, well, why is that? And she said, because my daughter continuously bullies and I'd want her to stop. But she needs to understand what bullying does to people because she's always been the bully. She's never been the receiver of that. Okay. So Cass had a wonderful conversation with her, and the little girl was in tears and said she had no idea that she was hurting people in that way. And so that's one story. We also have another story of a little boy very small boy, who was starting and beginning to change and have some questions in his head. He came and he wanted to ask some questions so that he could understand himself better. So it's a wonderful place for people to share ideas and experiences and come to a common place of understanding.
Teresa Carroll's who we're talking to. We're going to take a little bit of a break here to find out what's happening on Wall Street. We'll be back after that. All right, let's get back into our conversation. Teresa Carroll from Manpower is here talking about the second annual community project. It's all about stopping bullying, and you're going to do that in a number of different ways. Let's just talk about the event itself and,
Sure.
and exactly how this is all going to work.
Yeah. Well, this is called Out in October Community Picnic, and what we're doing is it's National Coming Out Day on the 11th, and so
Coming out meaning?
Coming out of the closet, realizing who you are, not being afraid anymore, regardless of how you identify. So we're throwing a picnic in celebration of that. It's about individuality and really trying to sort of dissolve bullying as best as we can and promote positive behaviors. But it's on Sunday from 1 to 4. It's going to be at the Rock County Courthouse area. We wanted to be in the amphitheater, but it's not quite done yet. So we'll work around that. Rainbow Bridge will be playing, which is great. Beloit Health System is a huge supporter of us. BMO Harris rallied last year and just came out as a great supporter of us. Mercy Health System is donating hot dogs and buns. We've got best events there. They will
So you don't have
food.
to pack your own lunch. You can.
No, come on down. We've got food.
We've got
music.
It's a picnic free of charge.
Yep. We've got food, music, face painting. We have a candy toss for the kids, plus over 40 booths for resource information. So it's just going to be a great event.
So some of the booths then would be some of these people you just mentioned?
Yes, among many, many others. The list is very, very long. In fact, we're still adding booths. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. So how did this all get started in the first place?
Well, it has a really interesting story. Kelly Blair Osterman started this organization, and she started it as an educational tool for the school districts and community members because she used to take, or she still does, take in foster kids that are are dealing with the very topic of sexual identity, gender identity. And what she was noticing is the schools, the kids were just relentless picking on her foster kids. So she really wanted to work with the school district to really gain a wider understanding about the challenges that these kids face every day to diffuse the bullying behavior that was taking place. And so, we started in 2011, and it's just grown from there. This year we really focused on building a strong foundation with a board. We also have a new website. We also have a new mission statement. So really just forming a strong foundation. And next year we're going to launch into a lot of community education, hopefully partnering with the Rock County school districts next year.
I noticed that Facebook is also something that you use too. And it's interestingly enough, it is a way to get your message out there. But I have heard that there have been a lot of bullying on Facebook as well.
There is, and that's cyberbullying, which is a whole different topic. It's negative behavior. So I've been even bullied on LinkedIn. So, it's pervasive everywhere. And what I find most helpful for me is for every negative comment, come back with something positive. And it works in sales too. It's a sales technique. But we are on Facebook. If you look under Rock County Out in October, you will find all the information there about our event. We also have a regular website, which is rubyprojectwi.org. So you can check us out there as well and see what we've been up to and what we continue to do within the community.
Okay, LGBT. What's the Q?
Queer.
Okay, I just had never heard that. I think I've heard LGBT.
Yeah, and sometimes the Q is used, sometimes it isn't. But the bottom line is there are support systems out there for people that are struggling or have questions surrounding gender identity and how they choose to express love.
All right. We have to wrap it up. So one more time, let's just talk about the date, the place, and all that, the time.
October 12th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Rock County Courthouse area, the park there. We're going to have Rainbow Bridge playing, Beloit Health System, BMO Harris Bank, Mercy Health System, all really great supporters of our organization. And we would love to see you at our community picnic for Out in October to stop bullying. And we are providing the venue pretty much free to all vendors, and it's provided by Ruby Project. So,
okay, and it's a fundraiser of sorts?
It is a fundraiser of sorts. Next year, what we're going to do is we're going to be giving out grants to organizations within Rock County that are working to diffuse bullying based on gender identity.
Okay, very good. Teresa Carroll talking about the Ruby Project, but it's in this area we're calling it the Community Picnic, the second annual. Again, October 12th, and it's at the new park. That's not quite finished yet, but that's gonna be something that it'll be a nice place to be. So
yes, it will.
Thank you very much for being with us, and hopefully some people learned something today.
Yes.